Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Reed Dalton from Restore the Balance Regenerative Health, and I'm here to talk today about sugar, especially at the beginning of the holiday season. Sometimes sugar can be on everyone's mind when it comes to making ourselves feel guilty about eating too much of it, overindulging, etc., etc. And there are some interesting things to say about that in regards to your health. So I want to start with a story, first of all, from a very dear friend of mine. Many, many years ago, I was having some health issues, and I remember telling her that I just couldn't stop the desire to eat sugary foods. And she reminded me that sugar is a part of celebration. And when we choose to eat sugar, it used to be that we would have it in joyous celebratory times, and it was pure, plain white sugar, honey, maple syrup, something derived from nature. There were no consequences for that kind of action. In celebration, in happiness, eating something that comes from nature does not contribute to disease. Being guilty, feeling bad and punishing oneself, actually releases stress hormones, and that can in fact create disease. So looking at the sugar in and of itself, we also know that in historic times, sugar was used to heal wounds, and sometimes it still is. Wounds were packed with honey or with raw sugar, and it accelerated the healing process of those wounds. Nowadays, we have marketing that gets in the way, telling us that we're not enough or that we need this other new thing, when in fact, the simplest ingredients are still the very best ones around. So I want to go into the holiday season with that celebratory feeling. Another year has gone around and we're still on the planet. That's cause for celebration. And we have access to delicious foods, and that is cause for celebration. Your body will know when you've overindulged in something, and that is a good sign to heed. You can pay attention to those signs and know that you've had enough of something and you don't need any more. But if your body is still telling you that you need sugar, you may be in need of fuel. You may be in need of healing. You may be in need of more celebration. And I think that's all cause for more celebration, more sugar, more good things to eat. And I have in the newsletter today, we're going to be looking at candied orange peel. So of course I am going to snack on my candied orange peel as I tell you the next story. The next story is about two different students of mine. These two students are diabetic. So I'm going to preface this story by saying nothing in this is medical advice. This is not diagnosing or treating any illness. These are simple anecdotal stories to help you along your healing journey figure out what is best for your body. So I've seen many people who are just low on fuel in general, including myself. I've been underfueled all my life, mostly, up until I found my metabolic healing journey. And when I see people coming into the studio with symptoms like buzzing, numbness, tingling, they can't feel things with their extremities, my first question is, what have you been eating? And many times they just don't have enough fuel. Of course, when it comes to diabetes, we need to look at the balance, right, between sugar and the other things that are being consumed. So if there is not enough sugar, the nerves are going to suffer. And as I tell everyone, your brain needs 3 ingredients. It needs glucose, oxygen, and activation. And those 3 things are the ingredients that keep your brain alive. So your nerves love sugar. Your nerves love cholesterol. Your nerves need those kinds of ingredients because that is what makes them function. So how could we say that those things are bad when they are necessary for the vital function of our nervous system? It's when things get out of balance and we don't have other things to accompany them, that we can start to see disease. And of course, nowadays, in the world of processed foods, a lot of sugary things come with other added ingredients that are gut irritants and are going to clog our systems, and we don't want to eat those. Sugar and orange peel is incredibly healing. So when I saw these people coming into my studio and having problems feeling things, your fingers are designed to feel, to pick up, pinch, and do, fine motor skills. I want everyone to be able to do that for a very, very long time. So I suggested maybe try it out and see what happens if you eat some marmalade. We know that the orange peel is high in the antioxidant naringenin, which I know I've said to many people, and you may have heard me say this before. Naringenin is one of my favorite words because it's fun to say. So naringenin in the orange peel is highly anti-inflammatory. It is an antioxidant. It is an antibacterial. It is an antiviral. It is very good for you. And the sugar that goes along with it, as well as the vitamin C, are going to help increase your nervous system activity. So these two diabetic people that I know, these students of mine, they went home and they tried it out. And one of them came back 2 weeks later and reported that he could feel his fingers again. He could actually sense the small things, and he likes to work with his hands. He does a lot of fine motor skills. He was able to do the tasks that he wanted and needed to do because he could feel his fingers. Of course, that makes us safer, right? Because now there's less danger of doing something that's going to create a wound because you can actually feel the ends of your fingers. In the other circumstance, this person was feeling a lot of numbness in their feet, and that had also declined, that had decreased. That numbness had started to go away with proper fueling and a little bit of sugar. And these are people who are diabetic. They need to make sure that they're getting the proper balance of other fats and other proteins when they eat their sugar so that they don't increase their blood sugar or end up on that roller coaster ride. These are the same rules for everyone else. But the same rule for everyone else, that nerves need sugar, applies to people who are diabetic as well. So these are very interesting anecdotal stories. And we could say this is not a perfect experiment, right? There are other things that could contribute. And I'm open to discussion about all of those things, including how much of this was a placebo effect. And we talk about that in the studio. I talked with my students about, do these things really mean that you've created an internal chemical change? Well, how could they not? First of all, because you are what you eat. What goes in must come out somehow, somewhere, some example of that. But what we put in here also demonstrates in our world. So the thing that I think is interesting is, how long does this continue? Can a person sustain that amount of work, that amount of sensation, that amount of function in their extremities over a longer period of time? And that can help us determine. And not all the placebos are going to be bad either, right? We might as well heal ourselves even if it is a placebo. But in this case, I'm inclined to think fueling improved. Nerves got fuel, nerves got sugar, what they needed. They were able to work more efficiently, and they were able to create stronger sensation in the extremities of the body. So enjoy your candied orange peel recipe. Have a most wonderful, celebratory, joyous holiday.